Need a blueprint to start your mobile notary business? Don't stumble through the process. You need an outline for success. Introducing the Mobile Notary Blueprint by Derek Spruill. Build your thriving mobile business and protect yourself from costly mistakes with expert advice. Buy your copy of the Mobile Notary Blueprint by Derek Spruill from any online bookstore, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, booksofmillion.com, bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by DerekSpruill.com, or download from Kindle and build your successful notary business today.
Imagine a $50 million high-rise project that is just, well, it's completely paralyzed. I mean, the cranes have stopped swinging.
Just totally dead in the water.
Exactly. The drywallers are packing up their tools. Plumbers are, they're threatening to walk off the job by Friday. And the developer is bleeding nearly $6,000 every single week in pure, unrecoverable interest.
Oh, it is a total nightmare scenario.
Right. And why? Because one lower-tier subcontractor out of maybe 50 forgot to sign a single piece of paper, and the entire capital pipeline just froze solid. Welcome to Notary Knowledge Style. Bold Direct. I'm Eddie, and I'm Marylyn.
It is fantastic to be here with you today.
If you've been following our prior sessions, we spent a lot of time mapping out how to aggressively diversify your revenue streams.
We talk a lot about stepping out of that traditional box, right?
Yeah, that highly saturated consumer box, looking at different avenues to build a resilient, inflation-proof business. But today, you are stepping into the absolute big leagues.
The major leagues.
We are talking about commercial construction. This is built specifically for you, the savvy strategist who is tired of the daily grind and is, frankly, ready to build an empire.
The mission today requires a complete paradigm shift on your part. Look, if your current business model relies on just waiting for the phone to ring.
Right, hoping for a call.
Exactly, hoping for a call so you can chase $15 single stamp walk-ins at the local coffee shop, you are competing in a race to the bottom on price.
It's just not sustainable.
No, it's not. And honestly, you will always struggle to scale that way. Today is about pivoting. It's about becoming an indispensable, high-level risk management partner for multi-million-dollar real estate development.
I love that.
Because by the end of this session, you are going to understand exactly how to position yourself so that major institutional players, the general contractors, the massive developers, the commercial title companies, they view you not as a vendor, but as a critical operational asset.
That is a brilliant framing. But, before we can even touch the incredibly lucrative business-to-business marketing strategies, we have to lay down the concrete foundation.
We really do.
Because here is the bold truth of the industry. You absolutely cannot walk into a general contractor's office and sell them a solution if you don't fundamentally understand their biggest operational nightmare.
The thing that keeps them up at night.
Right, the thing keeping accounts payable managers awake at 3:00 a.m. And that is universally known as the construction draw. We have to really get into the actual mechanics of how commercial capital moves.
Yeah, to really understand the construction draw, you have to look at the financial architecture of commercial real estate. Commercial projects, they don't operate out of a single checking account like a standard kitchen remodel.
It's way more complex than that.
Oh, massively. They use what we call layered capital. I like to think of it as a financial wedding cake.
Okay, a wedding cake. Break that down for us.
So the massive base layer is your senior debt. These are the loans from the major commercial banks. It's the biggest chunk of money, it's the safest position for a lender to be in, and it usually has the lowest interest rate.
Got it. The safe foundation.
Right. Then you have the middle tier of the cake, which is mezzanine financing. This acts as a bridge. It's smaller, but it's much riskier because they get paid back after the senior bank if things go south.
Ah, so they demand a higher return.
Exactly. It comes with much higher interest rates. And finally, the top tier of the cake is the developer's own equity-like, their actual cash in the deal.
That makes total sense.
Now, when a senior lender approves a $50 million loan for a new mixed-use development, they do not just wire $50 million to the developer on day one, shake hands, and say, good luck, let us know when the ribbon cutting is.
Right, because if the developer goes bankrupt halfway through, the bank is left holding a half-built concrete skeleton that they can't even sell. I mean, it would be financial suicide for the lender.
Which is exactly why they utilize the draw mechanism. Lenders drip feed that capital on a strict monthly basis, and they only release funds based on verified, physically documented progress.
So they want proof before they pay a dime.
Precisely. That monthly release of funds is the draw. It is a continuous, punishing administrative discipline. And as a strategist stepping into this space, we need to make a very clear, hard distinction right now between two terms that rookies mix up constantly.
Oh, this is crucial.
It really is. A payment application versus a draw request.
Let's lock that terminology in for you right now, because if you manage to get a meeting with a construction CFO and you use the wrong term, your credibility vanishes instantly.
You look like an amateur.
Exactly. So a payment application, commonly called a pay app out in the field, is simply what a subcontractor or the general contractor submits to ask for money.
Right, it's just their invoice.
Right. It is their invoice for work performed in that specific billing cycle. So the concrete pourer submits a pay app to the GC. A draw request, however, is the macro-level event.
The big picture.
Yeah, it is the comprehensive, massive bundle of documents that the project owner or the GC submits to the lender and the title company to authorize the release of the actual loan funds.
So the draw request actually contains all those dozens of individual pay apps, plus, an absolute mountain of compliance documentation.
And let's talk about that mountain,
All right.
because we refer to this as the 10-item draw package standard. This is the document bundle required to trigger a multi-million-dollar funding event.
I really want to walk through the anatomy of this package because understanding this is where your specialized expertise comes into play.
Okay, so what's sitting at the top of the pile?
First, sitting right on top, you have the cover letter or the requisition summary. This document states the total draw amount, say $4.2 million for the month of August.
Okay.
And it formally authorizes the request. But here is a critical operational rule you need to know. This cover letter must be signed and executed last. Like, absolutely. Only after all the underlying amounts in the package are finalized and audited.
Wait, stop right there. I have to ask, why does the timing of that signature matter so much? If it's just a cover letter, why can't the project manager sign it on a Monday while the accounting team is still gathering receipts on Wednesday?
Because of federal fraud exposure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's serious. If the project manager signs a document demanding $4.2 million, but during the audit process, the title company realizes a subcontractor overbilled by $50,000, the numbers have changed.
So the request is suddenly inaccurate.
Right. If that cover letter was already signed and submitted with the wrong higher number, the GC has technically just submitted a fraudulent funding request to an institutional lender.
Which is a massive legal liability.
Exactly. The signature is a certification of the final audited math. It cannot happen beforehand.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. The math has to be locked in first. So what is sitting right underneath that cover letter?
Following the cover letter, you get into the heavy hitters, the American Institute of Architects forms.
The AIA forms.
Right, specifically the AIA G702 and the G703. The AIA G702 is the formal application and certificate for payment. This is the page where the general contractor officially swears, under penalty of perjury, that the physical work on the site has actually been completed according to the architectural plans.
Let me jump in here. I want to make sure I'm visualizing this correctly. So the G702 is the sworn oath that the building isn't just an illusion, but how do they actually prove the math behind it?
Well, that is the AIA G703, which is the continuation sheet.
Okay.
Think of the G703 as the line-by-line heartbeat of the project's finances. It is a massive spreadsheet called the Schedule of Values. It breaks down every single trade on the project.
Like framing, plumbing, electrical.
Exactly. It shows exactly how much was originally budgeted for electrical work, how much the electrician has billed in previous months, how much they are billing this exact period, and crucially, what the retainage is.
Let's pause and define retainage for you really quickly, because it's a concept that drives the entire construction cash flow.
It's vital to understand.
Think of retainage exactly like a security deposit that a landlord holds onto. In commercial construction, the developer or lender usually holds back about 10% of every single paycheck they owe the contractor.
And why do they do that?
Because it keeps the contractor on the hook. It ensures they actually finish the final punch list, like installing the last few light fixtures or fixing a scratched door, instead of taking the bulk of the money and running off to their next job.
Because without that leverage, they might just disappear.
Exactly. That retainage doesn't get released until the very end of the project. So the G703 tracks all of that retainage math.
That is a brilliant analogy. So moving down the draw package, after the G703, we hit the sworn statement. This is the GC's master list of every single subcontractor and supplier on the job.
confirming exactly who's been paid to date.
Right. And we are going to dig deeply into the legalities of this specific document very shortly. But next up is the lien waiver portfolio.
Oh, this is the big one.
It really is. This is arguably the most volatile part of the package. It tracks all the conditional and unconditional waivers from every tier of the project, the GC, the major subs, and the sub-tier suppliers.
And what comes after the waivers?
Then you have stored materials documentation. Let's say a steel fabricator is billing the project for $500,000 in custom structural steel. But that steel hasn't been delivered to the site yet. It's sitting in a warehouse 3 states away.
The lender isn't just going to take their word for it, right?
No, absolutely not. They need photographic proof, warehouse receipts, and specific insurance policies proving that steel actually exists.
And that it's tagged for this specific project.
Exactly, and protected from fire or theft while it's sitting there. Finally, rounding out the core package, you have the certificates of insurance, or COIs.
Checking the insurance.
Right. These verify that the commercial, general liability, and workers' compensation policies for every contractor on site are actively enforced for that specific 30-day draw period.
I mean, I am exhausted just listening to that list. That is 10 thick layers of extreme administrative friction.
It's a mountain of paperwork.
And this brings us directly to the pain point you are going to solve for these companies. I want you to really put yourself in the shoes of an accounts payable manager at a major GC firm.
Just imagine the stress.
You are managing a $50 million project. You have a massive loan at a 6% interest rate. If you do the math on that, the capital on that loan burns roughly $5,800 a week in carry costs.
Every single week.
Every single week that draw package sits on a desk,
Right.
waiting for a lender to approve it, the GC is bleeding almost $6,000 in pure unrecoverable interest.
And while that's happening, the downstream subcontractors, like the electricians, the framing crews, they are screaming at the AP manager because they haven't been paid for work they did 45 days ago.
The pressure on that AP department is immense.
It's unbelievable. And what is tragic is that the top reasons lenders reject these draw packages and halt the funding are almost entirely preventable administrative errors.
Like what kind of errors?
Lenders reject draws because a lower-tier subcontractor's backup invoice is simply missing, or they reject them because a framing contractor's workers' comp, COI, expired 2 days ago.
Just tiny details.
Yeah, they reject them because a project manager transposed a number, and the dollar amounts on the G703 continuation sheet do not perfectly reconcile with the G702 cover page.
So a math error freezes millions.
Exactly. But the absolute number one culprit, the bottleneck that stops millions of dollars dead in its tracks month after month, is missing incomplete or improperly executed lien waivers.
Now, if you are listening to this right now and you have that high-level strategic mind we know you do, you are probably asking a very direct, highly skeptical question.
You're probably thinking, why does this matter to me?
Right. You're thinking, look, this is fascinating, but if this is all about accounting math, insurance expiration dates, and tracking down plumbers for lien waivers, why does a mobile notary need to care? Isn't my job just to show up, verify a driver's license, stamp the final sworn statement, and leave?
Well, if you want to remain a commodity, then yes, that is your job.
Just a stamp.
Right. But if you want to build an empire, you have to completely abandon that mindset. You are not there to just be a human stamp. You have to reframe your entire value proposition to the client.
So what are we instead?
When you step onto that site, you are acting as a field compliance officer. Let's go back to the arithmetic on that AIA G703 continuation sheet.
Okay, the math sheet.
All right. If you are sitting in the construction trailer and you take 60 seconds to audit the carry-forward math on that schedule of values before you administer the oath on the sworn statement, you are doing more than catching a typo.
You're saving the whole deal.
Exactly. If you spot that the previous billing column doesn't match last month's draw, and you point it out to the project manager so they can fix it before the package goes to the bank, you just prevented that entire draw package from being rejected by the lender's auditor.
Wow.
You just saved the general contractor a minimum of a week of funding delays, which, as we established, just saved them nearly $6,000 in carry costs and kept the downstream trades from walking off the job. You are literally protecting the financial momentum of the entire development.
When you explain it like that, it's incredibly powerful. I mean, you go from being a $15 line item on an expense report to being the person who guarantees a $4 million cash flow.
It's a totally different level of value.
But knowing the administrative documents and the math is really only half the battle. Navigating the actual legal minefield of what strictly requires your notarial seal, and more importantly, absolutely does not, is where amateurs completely ruin multi-million-dollar payouts and get themselves permanently blacklisted from commercial work.
Oh, it happens all the time.
We are going to explore that legal trap right after this.
We'll be right back.
When you are operating in this high-stakes environment, managing $50 million draws and acting as the final line of defense against federal fraud, you cannot rely on a 99-cent spiral notebook from the grocery store to track your legal exposure.
No, it's incredibly reckless to do that.
It really is. This is exactly why you need to integrate the One Ledger Notary e-journal into your workflow. It is available right now on the Apple App Store, and it was crafted specifically for the modern high-level professional by the Magnificent Works team.
It's an amazing tool.
It fully digitizes and secures your records. And because you are a savvy strategist listening to this show, we've got something for you. Use the promo code NOTARYKNOW50 when you check out to get 50% off the first-year annual plan.
That's half off the first year.
Exactly. That is NOTARYKNOW50 on the Apple App Store. It is direct investment in your efficiency and your liability protection.
All right, let's step directly into the legal minefield. We need to dissect the crucial difference between the two most dangerous documents in the draw package: sworn statements and lien waivers.
Because this is where people really get tripped up.
Right. This is where state compliance laws dictate your every move, and guessing will get you into severe legal trouble. Let's start with the sworn statement.
We touched on this earlier. The sworn statement is the general contractor's ultimate master list. Depending on what state you operate in, it might have a specific title, like an ATG Form 3018B, or it might just be a standard template the title company provides.
But structurally, it always does the same thing.
Exactly. It lists every single subcontractor, every material supplier, the total value of their contract, the exact amount they have been paid to date, and the remaining balance owed to them.
Basically laying everything out on the table.
Right. It is the GC formally confirming to the property owner and the title company that, yes, I have paid my people, and there are no secret debts or claims floating around that are going to blindside you later.
And here is the absolute non-negotiable rule for you as the compliance professional. The sworn statement must be notarized, period.
Okay, so that's a hard rule.
A hard rule. The entire legal weight of this document relies entirely on the perjury exposure of a sworn oath. You are not performing a simple acknowledgement here. You are administering a jurat.
You are making them swear to it.
Exactly. You are looking the signer in the eye, requiring them to raise their right hand, and swearing or affirming that the contents of that massive financial schedule are actually true and correct.
Let me stop you, because this is where I think a lot of professionals get nervous.
I know exactly what you're going to ask.
Right. If I am administering a jurat on a sworn statement that says the drywaller was paid $100,000, but the GC is actually lying and pocketing the money, am I on the hook for that fraud because my seal is on the paper?
That is a phenomenal question, and it's a very common fear. But the answer is no. You are not verifying the financial truth of the document.
Okay, that's a relief.
You are verifying the identity of the person making the statement, and you are verifying that they willingly took an oath taking legal responsibility for those numbers. You are creating the legal trap for them if they lie.
So you're locking them into their own statement.
Precisely. To give you some context on how seriously the courts take your role in this, in states like Illinois, appellate courts have entirely thrown out mechanics liens, basically wiping out a contractor's ability to sue for unpaid work, simply because the underlying statements weren't properly sworn under oath by a notary.
Wow, so without the oath, it was meaningless.
The paper was completely worthless without the oath. In Michigan, utilizing their official statutory sworn statement form is highly expected and is the absolute gold standard across the industry.
It's the key to the whole process.
Without your seal completing that jurat, that document is just scrap paper, and the commercial title company will completely refuse to clear the escrow for disbursement. You are the key that unlocks the legal validity of the statement.
Okay, so the sworn statement unequivocally requires your seal to trigger the money. But then we look at the other side of the coin, which is the lien waiver.
Right, the waiver.
If the sworn statement is the GC saying, I paid everyone, the lien waiver is the subcontractor saying, I got paid and I legally release my right to sue the property.
Exactly.
And there are 4 main flavors of these you will encounter in the field. You have conditional progress waivers, which essentially mean I will waive my lien rights for this month's work, but only on the condition that this specific check actually clears the bank.
So it's protected if the check bounces.
Right. Then you have unconditional progress waivers, meaning I have the cash in my hand, my lien-in rights for this billing period are completely gone.
Done deal.
Yep. And then you have conditional final and unconditional final, which do the exact same thing, but for the very end of the entire job.
And this is exactly where you have to exercise massive strategic legal caution. I am dropping a major compliance warning right now regarding state rules.
Listen up, everybody.
When it comes to lien waivers, only Mississippi and Wyoming and Texas, but only for certain very specific types of waivers, legally require notarized lien waivers by state statute.
Wait, really? Only those states?
Only those. I'm going to repeat that because it's vital.
Hmm.
In the vast majority of the country, a lien waiver does not legally require your stamp to be valid.
Let me give you an analogy to make this stick, because this is where overeager professionals make catastrophic errors trying to look important.
Yes, I love this analogy.
Slapping your fancy notary seal on a California statutory lien waiver just to make the document look more official is like putting aftermarket rims on a leased Ferrari.
It's just a terrible idea.
It is. You might step back and think it looks great, but you actually just violated the terms of the lease and voided the warranty. When you add things that don't belong, you destroy the value.
That is an incredibly sharp analogy, and it leads perfectly into the statutory trap. 12 states have incredibly strict statutory lien waiver forms.
Which states are we talking about?
If you are operating in California, Florida, Michigan, Texas, Arizona, Massachusetts, Nevada, Utah, Georgia, or Missouri, the state legislature dictates the exact word-for-word wording of the lien waiver.
So you can't just make up your own form.
You absolutely cannot deviate from it. If you are out in the field and you alter one of these statutory forms by stamping it and adding a notary block where it does not legally belong according to state law, you are materially altering a regulated legal document.
That sounds dangerous.
It is. You can inadvertently invalidate the entire waiver.
And let's follow the domino effect of that mistake. If you invalidate that waiver because you just, had to use your stamp, the property is now exposed to a mechanic's lien from that subcontractor.
And then what happened?
The title company's auditor catches it. They halt the entire draw. The $50 million payout stops. The AP manager starts bleeding that $6,000 a week in interest. And you are the one responsible for ruining the entire process.
Precisely. You have to know your jurisdiction's laws inside and out. You must know when your seal is the crucial linchpin of the transaction and when you need to keep your stamp firmly zipped in your bag and just facilitate the document collection.
Exactly. So now that you are armed with the macro-level mechanics of the construction draw and the strict zero margin for error legal nuances of compliance, it is time to turn this highly specialized knowledge into recurring high-margin revenue. Welcome to Money Making Monday.
This is where we shift the tone completely from compliance theory to pure corporate business strategy. You have to break the cycle of relying on one-off consumer transactions.
Because that's just a hustle, not a business.
Right. Sitting by your phone, hoping someone calls you for a single auto title transfer or a power of attorney is not a business model, it is a hobby.
A very stressful hobby.
To build an empire, you need to target the people who are in profound, expensive operational pain. You need to target the general contractor, chief financial officers, the accounts payable managers, and the commercial escrow officers sitting at the major title companies.
And how do you actually get in front of these people? You build a hyper-targeted, authoritative digital footprint. You optimize your Google business profile, yes, but you utilize localized SEO strategically.
You have to speak their language online.
Exactly. You do not target generic keywords like notary near me. A CFO isn't searching for that. You target long-tail, specific phrases like commercial construction, mobile notary your city, or on-site construction draw compliance.
Because they're looking for a specialist.
Right. Because when an AP manager is having a panic attack on a Thursday afternoon because a massive draw is stalled due to a missing waiver on a job site across town, they are searching for a specialized professional who understands their exact crisis, not a generalist.
Furthermore, you must aggressively leverage LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the ultimate B2B outreach tool, but you have to use it correctly.
Yeah, don't just post pictures of your notary stamp.
Please don't. Share actual insights. Share updates on mechanics lien laws in your specific state. Write a short post about the importance of accurate AIA G702 arithmetic and how it prevents funding delays.
That shows real expertise.
Use the platform to direct message regional construction controllers and AP managers. When you speak their specific language, when you casually drop terms like carry costs, retainage, and compliance bottlenecks in a message, you instantly bypass the vendor filter.
You sound like one of them.
You build authority.
Yeah.
You are positioning yourself as a peer and an operational asset, not just a person with a pen.
So let's say you get the meeting with the CFO. What exactly are you pitching them? You are selling what we call the one-draw delay service.
Oh, this is a brilliant operational play.
Let's connect the dots here. Remember how we established earlier that missing sub-tier lien waivers are the absolute #1 reason draws fail and cost the company thousands?
Right, the biggest pain point.
In the one-draw delay model,
Yeah.
you pitch yourself as the GC's designated outsourced field compliance officer, instead of the GC's internal accounting team wasting 40 hours a week, making 100 desperate phone calls, begging angry subcontractors to please check their email, print a waiver, sign it, and scan it back.
Which never works smoothly.
Never. So instead of that, you take over the physical logistics. You physically travel to the sub-tier offices. You drive out to the active, dusty job sites. You track down the foreman.
Hunt them down.
You physically collect and, if legally applicable in your state, notarize the waivers linked to the current or prior billing cycles. You completely surgically remove the administrative bottleneck from the GC's accounts payable team.
And here is the financial beauty of offering this specialized service. It allows you to completely transition away from state-capped per-stamp fees.
Oh, this is where the money is.
If you are in a state that legally caps a jurat fee at $15, you cannot build a sustainable corporate business on that math alone. But state laws do not cap what you can charge a corporation for field compliance consulting, executive travel, arithmetic auditing, and priority drop-everything availability.
You're charging for the service, not the stamp.
This is where we formulate the B2B retainer.
Let's break down the math of the savvy strategist play, because this is the most important calculation you will ever make. You approach the CFO of a mid-sized regional commercial builder, and instead of billing them per trip, you propose a recurring monthly retainer.
And how do we price that?
To calculate your price, you use the cost-plus margin formula. First, you calculate your hard monthly delivery costs. I mean everything. Let's say you were driving a truck 400 miles a week for these site visits. You calculate the vehicle depreciation, the fuel, the wear and tear.
You have to track all of that.
You factor in your commercial errors and omissions insurance premiums, which need to be high for this work. You factor in your software subscriptions, your mobile internet. Let's say your hard operational cost to service this one GC is $800 a month.
Okay, so $800 is our baseline.
You do not just mark that up 20%. You price the retainer to hit a target gross delivery margin of 55 to 60%. To hit a 60% margin on $800 of costs, you need to bill the client $2,000 a month.
That is a massive shift.
That gives you $1,200 in gross profit for just one client.
But listen closely. You cannot walk into a boardroom, demand a $2,000 a month high-margin retainer, and then operate like an amateur.
Oh, definitely not.
You must justify that premium cost through execution, specifically through strict service-level agreements, or SLAs. An SLA is a contractual promise of performance.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, if you are on a premium retainer, your SLA should guarantee a 2-hour assignment confirmation. When that stressed AP manager emails you a list of 4 job sites to visit on a Tuesday morning, you don't get back to them tomorrow. You confirm receipt and schedule within 2 hours.
Speed is everything here.
You guarantee a 30-minute on-site arrival window so the site superintendent knows exactly when to expect you. And most importantly, you guarantee 2-hour digital scan back uploads.
Let me repeat that. 2-hour scan backs.
The absolute moment you secure the signed documents in the field, you process them so the GC has them sitting in their secure cloud system within 2 hours. That speed, that reliability, is how you provide massive, undeniable value that makes a $2,000 retainer look like a bargain compared to $24,000 a month in delayed interest.
Exactly. You've sold the CFO on the solution. You've successfully negotiated a 60% margin retainer. You've got the contract. Now you actually have to execute flawlessly out in the dirt, the noise, and the chaos of an active construction site.
It's not a sterile office environment.
Let's look at the real-world logistics of making this happen right after this quick word.
Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of field logistics, I want to remind you to continue elevating your strategic game. A true professional never stops learning. I highly recommend purchasing the Notary Knowledge Books authored by Derek Spruill.
Great resources.
You can find these invaluable resources by visiting the Notary Knowledge website. It is essential reading for anyone serious about scaling their operations and protecting their liability.
And while you are expanding your knowledge base, make sure to check out our video podcast, No Notary, with Eddie Montes Travis, as well as Marylyn's 90 Seconds of Notary.
There's so much content there.
Cross-training your brain with different formats, seeing the visual breakdowns, is exactly how you stay sharp and ahead of the curve in this industry.
All right, let's get into the field execution. We are going to integrate some specific real-world scenarios based on questions we regularly receive from you guys out there managing these high-volume field accounts. We will start with scenario 1 from Bob in Massachusetts.
Bob asked a very practical question about managing the physical paperwork. He says, when I'm dealing with a $50 million project, the sheer volume of paper is overwhelming. I've got waivers, COIs, schedules. How do I physically organize this in my vehicle so I don't accidentally mix up a plumber's waiver from draw number 1 with a waiver from draw number 2?
Bob, physical organization is your primary defense against liability and operational failure. We highly recommend adopting the exact physical escrow setups used by major institutional players.
So no grocery store folders.
No, absolutely not. You want to directly mirror the protocols used by firms like Fidelity Land Title. First, throw away the cheap manila folders. You need to use heavy-duty plastic expandable folders for each major project.
Okay, so get the good stuff.
On the very front of that master folder, you permanently attach a comprehensive contact information sheet. This sheet must list the exact names, phone numbers, and emails for the GC's project manager, the property owner, the lender's agent, and the title company's escrow officer.
So you never have to search your phone for contact.
Exactly. Inside that master folder, you create separate, clearly labeled, color-coded internal folders. You have one dedicated entirely to loan policies. You have one dedicated solely to W-9 tax forms. And critically to your question, Bob, you create individual, distinct folders for each specific draw request.
Like draw 1, draw 2.
Right. You have a folder labeled draw number 1, August, and a separate folder for draw number 2, September. You never, ever commingle documents across different draws.
Because if an auditor calls...
If a title auditor calls you from a desk in New York and requests documentation from 3 months ago, you don't rifle through a messy pile. You pull the exact pristine file instantly.
That level of meticulous physical organization is what separates the pros from the amateurs. Now, let's combine scenario 2 and 3, because they are deeply connected by technology. Tom from California asks about printers, and Andy from Arizona asks about phone apps on dirty job sites.
Oh, the tech stack is crucial.
Tom's question is blunt. Do I really need to lug a bulky printer around in my truck?
Tom, the short answer is absolutely, unequivocally, yes. Let me explain the environment you are walking into. Because draw packages are 10 items deep, and because you are acting as a field compliance officer conducting on-site arithmetic audits, verifying those G703 schedules, things will inevitably change at the last minute.
Things never go perfectly according to plan.
Never. You will be sitting in a hot, dusty construction trailer. You will find that an invoice amount is off by $200. Or a date on a lien waiver is typed as 2025 instead of 2026. The GC's accounting team will fix it in the home office and email you a corrected PDF right then and there.
And if you don't have a printer, right there in your truck.
If you do not have a printer, you have to pack up, drive 20 minutes to a local print shop, pay for the print, and drive 20 minutes back. You just completely blew your 2-hour SLA, and the site superintendent is probably gone for lunch.
That's a disaster.
Having a reliable, heavy-duty mobile dual-tray printer mounted in your vehicle, powered by a pure sine wave inverter connected to your battery, is a non-negotiable cost of doing business and commercial work.
And layering in Andy's question about phone apps, because this ties right into the printer issue. Andy, you are dealing with strict SLAs requiring 2-hour digital scan backs. You cannot wait until you get home to your home office at 7:00 p.m. to run these through your desktop scanner.
It's too late by then.
But you also can't just snap a dark, blurry photo with your regular phone camera. You must utilize high-quality phone OCR optical character recognition scanning apps. Let me explain OCR simply, because the mechanism is vital. Why can't you just take a regular photo?
Because a regular photo is just a flat image of pixels. It's a digital painting of a piece of paper. The GC's accounting software doesn't know what to do with a painting.
You can't read it.
Right. When you capture the document with an OCR app, the software literally reads the shapes of the letters and numbers on the page. It sees the pixels that form $5,000 and converts them into actual usable digital text data.
Which is incredible technology.
This mechanism is the ultimate game changer. Major construction platforms like GCPay, Built, or Bill rely heavily on ingested digital data. When you use OCR, software integrations can automatically read the invoice data and the exact dollar amounts on the lien waivers you just scanned, and sync that data bidirectionally with the GC's massive enterprise resource planning systems, ERPs, like Sage Intacct or Yardi.
So you're literally saving the AP team from typing everything out again.
By providing a clean, perfectly cropped, text-readable OCR scan instantly from the field, you are completely bypassing the need for the AP team to manually type those numbers into their system. You are eliminating human data entry error, and you are radically accelerating their workflow.
You are plugging directly into their digital nervous system. Yeah, that is incredible value. Now, let's look at scenario 4, which comes from Ben in North Dakota. Ben operates in a region with highly remote rural job sites.
That's a tough logistical challenge.
He asks, how do I handle getting physical original documents back to the title company when I'm 3 hours away from their closest office?
Ben, this is a fantastic logistical question, and this is exactly where you execute your courier SLA strategy. In commercial real estate, electronic copies are great for speed, but if the title company strictly requires original wet ink documents to legally clear the mechanic's lien exposure on the title policy, which many institutional lenders do, you become the secure logistics chain.
So you have to physically get it there.
Your SLA with the GC dictates that you, the notary, must securely package those original wet ink documents and personally deliver them to a major courier, like a FedEx or UPS hub, by 5:00 p.m. the exact same day you collect them.
So you're acting as the mailroom, too.
You generate the label from your mobile printer, drop the package, and instantly email the tracking number to the AP team so they have peace of mind. And from a financial and pricing perspective, you never eat that cost.
Because shipping isn't cheap.
Exactly. You either build the domestic overnight shipping fees, which generally run $45 or more per envelope, directly into your high-margin retainer, or you bill it as a direct, itemized, pass-through premium expense on your monthly invoice. You maintain total control of the chain of custody.
Finally, we have scenario 5 from Dan in Michigan. Dan asks a great operational lifestyle question. I'm doing these one-draw delays sub-runs all day. I'm driving from a drywaller's office on one side of town to an excavation site on the other. How do I maximize all this windshield time so I'm not just burning hours?
Dan, you have to treat your vehicle as a mobile university. Windshield time is mandatory professional development time. When you are running a multi-site route across a sprawling metro area, you are burning significant hours behind the wheel.
It's a lot of dead time if you're just listening to the radio.
You must use audiobooks and targeted business strategy content, just like the intensive session you are engaging with right now, to stay incredibly sharp. The landscape of this industry is not static. The state laws around compliance change.
The tech changes too.
The technology around electronic payments and API integrations is constantly evolving. Your business development strategies need constant refinement. The hours you spend driving should be strategically invested in upgrading your mental knowledge base.
So you're always ready for the next pitch.
Why? So that the next time you are sitting across a mahogany table from a construction CFO reviewing their retainer, you have fresh, actionable, high-level insights to offer them. You always want to be the smartest operational person in the room.
Every single action we just discussed, from how you organize your physical folders, to understanding the pixel reading mechanics of your OCR scans, to how you utilize your drive time, it all ties directly back to our overarching theme. It proves to the market that you are a high-level, sophisticated, operational asset, not just a commodity stamp provider.
Which brings us to a final, slightly provocative, forward-looking thought that you as a strategist need to prepare for right now. We have spent this entire session talking extensively about the physical logistics of site visits, auditing physical paper, and the wet ink requirements.
Which is how the industry operates today.
And while that physical presence is highly lucrative right now, the industry is rapidly advancing. Remote online notarization, or ON, is actively penetrating the heavy construction sector. Massive tech platforms like Notary are pushing API-first software solutions that are specifically designed to handle lien waivers, contractor affidavits, and complex permitting packages entirely digitally.
They're essentially trying to remove the geographical and physical barriers of the draw process altogether.
Exactly. The software is coming for the paper. But the savvy strategist cannot afford to be afraid of this technology. You must aggressively adopt it. You need to be prepared to offer a hybrid operational model to your GCs.
What does that hybrid model look like?
You pitch the physical on-site auditing and courier services for the stubborn lenders who demand wet ink signatures, but you simultaneously offer secure, multi-layered digital identity verification and RON services for the trades that are tech-enabled.
So you play both sides.
By offering both, you stay ahead of the tech curve. You become the complete end-to-end compliant solution regardless of whether the document exists on a clipboard or on a tablet screen.
If you are looking to truly dominate your regional market, you now have the exact blueprint. It is time to execute. If you have specific high-level operational questions as you build this out, send them directly to Derek at dereksproul.com. We will try to answer as soon as possible at the end of our shows.
Executive producer Derek Sproul, lead writer Marylyn Trotter, graphics Eddie Montes Travis, music Thomas Bynum. Produced by Magnificent Works Business Solutions.
Don't just be listeners of the knowledge, be doers of the knowledge. This is Notary Knowledge. Until next time.
To obtain more notary knowledge, explore the full collection of books by Derek Sproul and find the perfect book for your notary business. Visit any online bookstore, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, booksofmillion.com, bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by dereksproul.com, or download from Kindle to obtain your essential notary book to help with all your notarization starting today.